there, and welcome to the UkeStuff channel, and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. It's the Hilo Concert Premier Okoume ukulele. It's their number 2956A. And as far as I know, they are available exclusively from Guitar Center or Musician's Friend. And that is how I found this one. Now, first of all, I'm just going to give you a little of my history of this instrument. Then we're going to talk about some subjective issues with the instrument, go over the specifications, then have a summary and a UkeGuide rating for the instrument. You can skip ahead to various parts of the video using the slider below, or you can actually find it in the description too. If you look in the description, there's a whole lot of other information there that might be of interest to you. All right, now, how did I find this instrument? Well, I watch the Musician's Friend Stupid Deal of the Day or Stupid Deal of the Hour as much as I can. On the days that there's a stupid deal of the hour where the deal changes throughout the day, I can't always stay on top of what's going on, especially if it happens during a school day and I'm teaching. On one particular day, a stupid deal of the hour was going on, and I wasn't watching it very closely, and I received an email from a viewer of this channel. And the person was asking me if Hilo ukuleles were any good, and I told them that I'd never reviewed one. They told me that this instrument was still available at that low price at the end of the day. So apparently they hadn't gone through the deal at $29.99. So I immediately ordered one. Now, when this ukulele arrived, I did not know what to expect, and I was shocked. I was floored by what I got for $29.99. And Hilo has been around, it says, since 1926. I don't know if that's continuous or not. And along with the ukulele, you get a case. It's not just a gig bag, it's one of these soft cases. And from the outside, it sort of doesn't look that great, but once you open it up, it's a really nice case on the inside. So you get all of that for only $29.99. Now, if that's not enough of a reason for watching Musician's Friend as an ukulele player, I don't know what is. So keep your eyes out for these. I know I will. And had I known it was that good of a deal, I probably would have tried to order more than one at that time. But I did not know and didn't want to take the risk with any more than one at one time. So now that you know how I obtained this instrument, let's go into the subjective evaluation of it. First issue is cost. Now, I got this one for, as I mentioned, $29.99. The problem is that if you go to Musician's Friend or you go to Guitar Center, both part of the same family, it lists right now at $299.99. That's a lot of money for a laminate ukulele. Now, if we move right ahead to the issue of value, at $299, this is a not good value. The price far outweighs the value of what you're getting at $299.99. The next issue we talked about is build quality. And overall, the build quality is really decent. The only sort of issues that I have, and one will come back in playability, is if I look very, very closely, there's some pooling right around the fretboard of the gloss. Other than that, that is it. There's really nothing else to complain about. And the one playability issue, which we will come back to later, is that the neck is a really strong C shape. It's not overly thick, having been measured, but it is rather chunky. Now, with that in mind, let's take a look on the inside and see how it's built on the inside. All right, let's take a look at this Hilo ukulele that's made out of laminate Okoume. So going inside, let's look at the lower bout first. You can see that it has notch kerfing, not very much glue mess at all, if any. You can see that there is a vertical brace running all the way up the middle of the soundboard as it is a matched top. You can see the bridge plate with two screws coming through, which is, again, very acceptable construction. I love how you can see where the bridge plate has been drawn to be placed and how they actually made it nice and level within those fittings. Very nicely done. You can see again the horizontal brace on the bottom and the matched bottom line there on the bottom as well. And just looking around, pretty clean overall. All right, let's look at the upper bout. Okay, looking at the upper bout, more of the notch kerfing. There is your neck brace. Looks like we had something come through on the top there where they fastened the top perhaps to that brace and kind of missed it. It's not going to hurt anything with playability. It'll probably never ever vibrate, but it's there, sort of a staple. And you can see a little bit of glue at this angle, but not very much. It's clear, doesn't get in the way. There's one of the horizontal braces across the top. So overall, not bad for an ukulele that was $30 as a stupid deal of the day. All right, we're back. So let's talk about appearance. I think this looks gorgeous. I never quite know what to think of Okoume as a wood because usually it's used as a neck for instruments. This again is not solid Okoume, it's laminate. So they take a thin layer of veneer over basically plywood. Now it could be layers of Okoume as well, but it's still plywood whatever way you think about it, and that's how many ukuleles are. That's not bad, it is just what it is. It is really well put together. It's book matched pretty well. It would have been cool if these larger stripes would have been able to line up a little more, but it is still, and look at that. That flaming Okoume on the back is really pretty. So the laminate itself is pretty. This binding is really kind of cool. It's sort of a brownish binding. There's a light white stripe there. And then as you flip it over, you actually get some black purfling and then abalone as well. And then you get some abalone as well through there. Now, as I talk about it, I think they may call that purfling tortoiseshell, but it does sort of look like an abalone to me, just a little bit less towards the white spectrum, more towards the tans and browns. But overall, it really works well together. The Hilo logo is just an applique, but it's under the gloss, and it's really pretty attractive for an instrument. So yeah, really nice looking ukulele. Now in terms of playability, it has some really good positives and one big negative. Now, on the side of positives, it's a concert scale ukulele with a 38 or close to it millimeter nut with pretty decent string spacing. So, if you're a person with large hands, this might be a great idea for you. On the negative side, there have been some sharp fret ends popping up, and this C-shaped neck is really a C-shaped neck. I know we talk about these C-shaped neck all the time, and whether it's too chunky or whatever, but this is really like holding on to half of a baseball bat. So I would really love to see this be a much more narrow profile, but that again, it does impact your playing because you have to then wrap your hand around that whole large chunky neck and that extra space along with the wider spacing. So if this was more narrow along with that wide spacing, it would be rather incredible as a playing experience. Now let's talk about the sound. Overall, I think it sounds pretty good. It is a laminate, and you do know that. It does sort of carry those lower tones of a laminate. It does have good volume, and it does have sustain. The main part of the sustain, however, happens in the lower frequencies of the instrument rather than the higher. So when you play a chord and it sustains, what holds on the most are sort of the lower notes of the instrument. One of the things I like to do in these reviews is to use the app Tonal Energy Tuner to let you see what I'm hearing. So I'm going to play the C chord on this instrument, and I'll let you see what happens with the original strum, and then what happens with the sustain. So in conclusion, an overall balanced sound, but the main sustain is in the lowest notes. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective issues with the instrument, let's go over the specifications. It is a concert ukulele, and the scale length is exactly 15 inches from nut to saddle. There are 18 frets, 14 to the body. There are side position markers as well as front position markers, and it is a double-bout, traditionally shaped ukulele. The soundboard, sides, and back are all made out of laminate Okoume wood. The fretboard is rosewood, and the bridge is supposed to be blackwood. It doesn't really look that much different than the fretboard, but they do specify the difference on the spec sheet online, and it is a tie bar bridge. The fretboard is not radius, it's a flat fretboard, and the nut and saddle are made out of synthetic bone. So think of it as sort of a new bone product. It is not a compensated saddle, it just goes straight across, and it is a gloss finish that's pretty well done, again with only signs of pulling around the fretboard. The overall length is exactly 24 inches and it weighs 1 pound, 1.9 ounces, and it's balanced pretty well. The instrument uses open geared tuners on the back. and the action at the first fret is just a little bit higher than 0.5 millimeters. So a little bit higher than I'd like up at the first fret. And the action at the 12th fret is 2.5 millimeters. At some point, I'm going to want to change the strings. It comes with Okoume strings. I'm going to want to change the strings to Martin strings just to see how it works, Martin M600s. At that point, I will probably lower the action at the nut just a touch to make it just that much more playable. The nut width is 37.45 millimeters, almost 38 millimeters, close enough, and it has really wide string spacing. At the first fret, there are 9.18 millimeters between each string at the first fret and 30.89 millimeters G to A. That's nice and roomy. Now, I also like to talk about the depth of the neck. It's a very C-shaped neck, so that depth measurement is going to be a little misleading. It ends up being a lot more chunky than you think. But if you go from the top of the strings to the bottom of the neck at the third fret, it's 20.78 millimeters in terms of depth. So with that extra C shape, even though you have that wide spacing, it really makes it a big handful to hold. So just keep that in mind. All right, now that we've talked about subjective issues and the specifications, let's summarize the instrument. Every day, I check Musician's Friend to see what's going to be out there in the ukulele world or any other musical instruments that I might be of interest in. You do have to watch it closely. And thanks again to a viewer on this channel, I was able to buy one of these at a really low price, 1/10 the price. And at that price, this instrument is a steal of a decade for $30. That's amazing. It's amazing because generally you can't even buy a case like this one for $30. So considering that you get that from the stupid deal of the day is worth watching each and every day. As an ukulele, it plays well, it looks great, it sounds good. There's nothing really to complain about here. Very well put together. However, with a price tag of $299.99, it's way too much. So what can you do? If you like this, wait to see if it comes up as a stupid deal of the day again. Watch to see if it just goes on sale. If you can see it in that lower price range or even in a middle price range, it might be a very good buy and addition to your collection. Now, one of the things I do in this channel is I review ukuleles between 0 and 5 ukuleles, and I give them each a rating. With this one, I'm going to give it a 4, although I should probably give it less because of its current price. If you can find one in the $30 price range as a stupid deal of the day, that's a 5 out of 5 because you just hit a home run there. Otherwise, to most other people, $299 realistically probably should make it down to a 3 because it's just too much for what you're getting of an instrument, even though it looks good. You've got the Hawaiian heritage with Hilo. You've got a really well built ukulele and a decent sounding ukulele. It's still just a laminate ukulele, laminate gloss ukulele that comes with a case, and that's not $299.99 territory. All right, thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.